So my plan all along has been to, work up my physical skills and my cardiovascular and endurance and my backpacking skills, so that maybe eventually I can do some longer hikes. Head out for 3 or 4 days, do a week or two. There's several good trails around that are 100, 200 miles long that I could do in a couple of weeks. So I'd love to do that. Hey, maybe eventually even one of the long through hikes here in the U.S. So the reason I mention that is because kind of the next step is, now that I've kind of figured out what I'm doing again, feel confident in my physical endurance and everything, I can kind of take it to the next level. So what I'm doing today is got everything in my pack that I'm going to need, and I'm just going to do a hike in and camp, eat, do everything, and then hike out tomorrow. And that way I can just kind of test out my supplies, how I feel after hiking this far and setting up a tent. Nothing too big. I'm going to hike in about 10 miles and then I'll camp tonight. Got my food with me and my water filter, and I will then hopefully have a good night and then hike out tomorrow morning. Kind of see what I learned from there, and I think that'll give me the confidence I need to do a longer hike. And if I can do this and there are no problems, then I can easily do a 3-7 day thing and just carry a little bit extra supplies. So that's what I'm doing today. So one of the key things I learned at Roman Nose, my last camping trip, my last backpacking camping trip, was that I'm not going to be able to get by with the gear that I have. The pack I had was not nearly big enough. I heard something over there. The sleeping bag I have is way too big, and my tent is extremely heavy and large. So I'm going to need some new gear for sure. Now I haven't solved all those problems for this trip entirely, but I have solved them enough to at least get me here. So I actually borrowed a pack from a friend. This is a Osprey Exos 48, which is a fantastic pack. I love it. It's in great shape. It fits like a glove. It's weighted so well, just so easy to hike in. But I think it's a little too small, or maybe I need some really, really ultralight gear. So I've got a sleeping bag in there that's way too big, and it is just wedged in with a makeshift tent. So I actually brought a hammock tent that I don't really enjoy sleeping in. I'm not really a hammock camper very much. But I brought it I can lay it down on a ground cloth and rig it up between two trees so that I can still lay on the ground, but be enclosed from, bugs or little rodents or whatever. And then I brought a tarp to just string over the top like an A-frame tent. So it should get me by, and it was light enough to carry in here. So those are my issues. I think, I've got them well enough, but I've, for this trip, but I've started looking for some solutions out there, and maybe if I can find some really good deals, maybe purchasing something, a pack, a bag, and or a tent sometime soon. So that's where I'm at right now. Those are my goals for this trip. Just kind of try the next step. See if I've got everything packed that I need. See if there's anything I wish I had that I can't just run to my truck to get because it's not here. And we'll see what I get out of it, and then we'll take on to the next step, taking it day by day, right? So, oh, what a beautiful view of the lake out there. I don't know if you can see that very well. Fantastic. Okay, well, I'm gonna get on with my hike, move a little faster. I'm probably only 3 miles into my 10 miles, so I will catch up with you as I get closer to camp and see how everything works out. So there have been quite a few storms around here in the last few days. We've had some like straight line 40-50 mile an hour winds, sustained winds, and 60 mile an hour 70 mile an hour gusts for like 2 days straight. That was maybe 2 or 3 days ago. And so I've been seeing lots and lots of blowdowns out here today. Lots of stuff that we're gonna have to, when they have their next volunteer day, we're all gonna have to get out here and cut this stuff up and get it out of the way. So gotta traverse these things, and you'd think you could just go walk around real easily, but oftentimes the trail is such that you can't really do that because there's a big drop off on one side and a whole bunch of cedar trees real deep on the other side, so you have to trek through a long ways. So anyway, woe is me. It's a rough life, isn't it? All right. Anyway, still trekking along. Say I'm getting real close to halfway. What happens is I come along down at the bottom and there's a big dam down there, and that's what separates the two main trails that connect. So getting real close to the dam, I'll get across that. We'll be able to see from the dam. You can see kind of where I started and where I'm going to end, where the campground is. I guess those must be frogs. That's hilarious. I think they're laughing at me, saying, "Hey, you fool. Aren't you tired of walking yet?" The trail approaches the lake pretty closely here, so thought I'd just give you a quick view of what I can see. The lake is huge, but the trails really go around the lake. They form a big horseshoe, and unfortunately I am hiking the curved part of the horseshoe around the south part of the lake, and that is not where the good views are. The trails, the two trails that are on the the straight part of the horseshoe are the great trails that, you know, have magnificent views and nice, you know, good elevation changes and big rocks and just some variety. So these two trails are the least fun of them, but it's the only way I could really get a straight shot to be able to, you know, hike 10 miles into a campsite because of how the campsites are laid out. So anyway, that's a little bit of the lake. Maybe sometime in the future, if I hike one of the other trails, there are some glorious views, so maybe I'll do that. Okay, I'm gonna hike on. So I mentioned earlier doing a horseshoe around the south side of the lake, and that is, what I did is I came down the west side of the lake, going south on the west side of the lake on the Blue Trail, and I know this is probably hard to hear now because of the wind, but anyway, and now I'm on the Green Trail. That's what went south along the bottom of the lake, along the south side of the lake, and now I'm coming up. I'm still on the Green Trail, but I'm coming up to the dam, and so the dam goes, you know, all the way across, and then we'll connect to the Red Trail, which will go north up the east side of the lake. So yeah, So here I am at the Green Trail Dam crossing. You can see there's a little jut out right there in front of me, and then further on there's a really big one right out there, and right kind of in the middle of that is where this trail started, the blue trail. So I've been going all along this west side, and now I'm on the green trail heading along, and it's a little hard to see. It's quite a ways away, but way out on the other side of the lake is the area where I'm going to be camping tonight. There we go. So, it's probably another quarter mile beyond that clearing there, just back in the trees. But that's where I'll be getting to, camping and setting up tonight. So I've got all that to hike on the red trail to get there. So it's been good. I feel good. Keep hiking and see how everything goes. Coming to the end of the green trail here, and ready to finish up, do the red trail, which is probably somewhere around 3 miles in or something. So getting real close. I tell you what, I'm so bummed. Just back through there is kind of a clearing, and just a couple hundred feet back, 2 deer ran across the trail. 2 big, beautiful doe just jumped right in front of me, and by the time I pulled out my camera, they were gone. They were, that was kind of cool. Really startled me, actually. They were really close. I don't know, if you want to, you can close your eyes and see if you can conjure up 2 beautiful doe jumping across you in the trail. Wasn't that cool? Okay, right on. Little guy had no idea I was there. He's just burrowing around, looking for some food. Well, I'm here at the campsite, and I've kind of scoped it out, I think. I'm just gonna I'm gonna put the hammock on the ground right here, and just tie the top between the 2 trees. That way, just to keep the net up, so it'll be kind of like a tent for me. And then I'll be able to also run a string across those 2 trees and put the tarp across. So I'll try to get a snapshot of that before it gets too dark. And I'll be right close here by the water, and picnic table over there close, and a fire ring, but I don't think I'll do that tonight. So anyway, I'm all good. I'm gonna make myself some cold soaked ramen, and that'll take about 25 minutes to soften up. And then I brought an apple and a couple of bars, and then got some oatmeal for the morning that I'll make cold as well, and hopefully I think I'll have enough for tonight. So anyway, good night, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Well, good morning. It was a good night. Everything seemed to work out really well. The tent was great. My little rigged up thing, it worked fine. It was a little chilly last night, but when I have a real tent that isn't open at the ends, blowing through, it'll it'll be a little better. Also, I don't think I mentioned it already, but I borrowed a sleeping bag and used that last night. So I had a smaller, lighter sleeping bag, but warmer. So it worked out as great as well. It kind of tells me it was a 20-degree bag, but a really inexpensive 20-degree bag. What I think it tells me is I need a 20-degree bag, you know, a decent one. And I think that'll do me, because it got chilly, you know, it got down to freezing, but it was fine. So I think I'll be good with that. You know, I didn't really identify anything that I hadn't brought, right? That was part of my goals here, was hiking in to see if there's something, you know, I hadn't figured out. You know, maybe I need some different clothes, or I need a tool or some kind of, you know, I don't know. I forgot my toothbrush, I don't know. But really, everything that I needed the whole way, as far as eating and taking care of myself and keeping my, you know, like blister stuff or anything that I could think of, I wasn't able to identify anything. So that's good. That tells me that, you know, I can probably move to the next step soon, trying to do a longer hike, maybe do a 3-day or do a week somewhere or something like that. So I think I met most of my goals. I'm just gonna hike back today, try to make it a quick one, and if I run across anything interesting, I'll certainly flip on the camera and take a picture or some video for you. And get to the end, maybe I'll just run back through a quick sort of summary of what's happened and how things have gone and what I'm going to do next. This little guy is just out enjoying himself today. What you up to, buddy? Almost stepped on him. All right, you might want to get out of the way. See ya. Well, I think this has been a very successful test, a good hike. I am very near the end here, and everything's going fine. You know, several things kind of to wrap up, I guess. You know, one thing that I haven't discussed at all is trekking poles. So I've been using trekking poles a little bit today. I haven't, you know, shown them to you or whatever. It's hard to video using the trekking poles, so I just pack them away when I'm videoing. But I'll do another video sometime just on trekking poles and my experience with them, and, you know, when to use them and when I like to use them and this and that. But anyway, you know, I experimented with them a little bit. If I do a longer hike, you know, a long hike, like a week or two or a month or, you know, whatever, I'll certainly probably want to have them with me. So I wanted to play around with them a little bit today. So that was good. I don't know if I have anything to kind of to wrap up with that, but it was just good to be able to mess around with them. So I guess really no major issues. You know, nothing huge, no major mistakes, nothing that makes me think I need to, you know, figure some stuff out before I go and do a longer trip, other than I need to acquire some gear, which I've already mentioned earlier in this video and probably prior to that. So borrowed a backpack. I definitely need to get a backpack. I rigged up a tent. You know, if I did a close by like 3-day hike or something, I could probably get away with that using the hammock, but you know, I just need to get something and see if I can find something relatively inexpensive. And then I have to get a sleeping bag. That's a no-brainer. I mean, that's an absolute. So I'll do that as soon as I can. And, you know, that'll set me up to be able to do a little bit longer trip. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video here soon on what I find and whether I manage to get any deals that are kind of worth it or anything. So, what do I know besides that? Well, I know I can do a 20-mile hike in 24 hours, right? 10 in, 10 out. So that's good. I mean, my fitness level has certainly increased tremendously in the last couple of months since I've started doing this again, and that feels great. You know, obviously you've seen the video of the trails. There's not a lot of elevation to them, so you know, if I go hike out in the Appalachians or go hike in Colorado or something, I'm sure my fitness will not necessarily be up to par for that, but I'm feeling really good about, you know, where I've gone from here, and that'll kind of help me to plan my next hikes. Right? I know how much I can hike. I mean, I know I can hike 10 miles, maybe plus a day if I need to. So I'll start looking around and find something that kind of fits that might be like a 3, 4, 5, you know, day hike. And I think that's all. So, like always, I'm excited about this. I'm excited to do the next thing, and hopefully find a really good longer hike and get that in maybe sometime in the next few weeks. So until then, get out and go hiking.